Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Theo. Thanks for hanging out with me today. This is Rekindled Reader, where I talk about books and bookish stuff. And if you like this type of stuff, and if we are a vibe, maybe go ahead and consider subscribing, hitting the bell notification so you can get notified when I post new videos like this one, which is going to be one of my weirder TBRs that I've ever done, and also a little bit about the Read-a-Thon that I'm going to be a part of for August 2024. Okay, so basically I'm going to be part of the TBR QUEST Read-a-Thon. There's a couple really good captains. I'm going to maybe list them in the video here. Their channels will also be in the description of the video, but a couple booktubers that you may or may not know. And my good friend is one of them, Madison Goodyear. I may be on her team, I may not. We'll see how things shake out, but I'm definitely going to participate. And the goal is to read 5 books. And I'm considering it sort of a challenge to read 5 books that I normally wouldn't pick up, or ones that have been burning my TBR for a long time. So I have my picks and I want to share them with you, but I'm also going to share on the screen the prompts. So the prompts are super simple. They give you a really big range of choices and things to be able to fit in. There shouldn't really be a book that can't fit in one of these prompts. They're actually very, very gracious prompts and kind of fun as a challenge to tick off. So I have 5 books. The goal is to read 5 books and get the maximum points that you can. If I have any extra info on it, how the points work, all that stuff, I'll try to put them in the description of the video. Please go ahead, maybe reach out to some of these booktubers, reach out to AR Witham, join the Keymark Discord. This is where things are happening. AR Witham, an awesome indie author, and I'll talk a little bit more about him very soon. He's kind of spearheading the whole thing. He's really, really involved with the community and all these readathons and stuff, and he's such a nice guy. Go ahead and reach out to anybody if you are curious about the readathon. That's starting very, very soon, August 1st. Again, if this is coming out, the first couple of days of August, it's not too late to join, I promise. So reach out to someone if you want to join and get those points in and join a team towards hopefully winning the TBR QUEST Readathon. So I'm going to go through the books that I've chosen for this one. And like I said, this is kind of my weirdest TBR in a very long time. So as I said, there's a bunch of prompts that you can choose from, but I've narrowed down the books that I want to read into the prompts that I think they're going to fit best into. So I'll just go through and let you know what I'm going to read. So the first prompt is going to be animal on the cover. There's a lot to choose from here, but I think I'm going to choose a book that I've wanted to read forever. This is Call of the Wild by Jack London. This is considered like a staple, a classic in the wilderness, survival, nature, genre. And it was written, I think, many years ago at this point. And I think that's basically the premise. I don't know too much more other than that. I'm going in blind. It's basically a survival story in the woods. So I'm sort of in the mood for that. It's summer. I'm thinking about camping, and hunting is around the corner. And I kind of that's what I'm in the mood for. A library hold came through, so I thought, why not read it as part of this TBR QUEST Readathon, a book that I would normally not really pick up over other books, over other fantasy books that I want to read. It's been on my TBR for years and years and years. And I thought, why not? It's short and it's easily fitting into this prompt here, because I know that there's a lot of books with animals on the cover, but I can't really seem to find one or think of one right now. So that's the one I'm going to pick, and I'm probably going to kick off the month with that one. Now, I mentioned AR Witham before, and I have his self-published book, The Legend of Black Jack, on deck. So this is going to probably fit the prompt any indie book, any independent published book. And I'm just going to read the back of this book so that you kind of know what it's all about. Jack Swift can tell you every element of the periodic table, recite Treasure Island verbatim, and would remember in perfect detail every word you'd ever say to him. He has been alone for a long time, so he has buried himself in books, using them to plan his escape. But no textbook could ever prepare him for the land of Keymark. At 3:33 a.m. on his 14th birthday, Jack is kidnapped by a hideous monster to another sphere of existence. Now, there are 2 moons in the sky, and he is surrounded by grotesque creatures and magical warriors training for battle. They want the impossible. Jack must use his abilities to save a life, or be trapped in this bizarre world with no chance of rescue. Jack doesn't have secret magic, a great destiny, or any experience. So why do they all expect him to become a legend? That honestly has intrigued me since the day I got this book. This was all over BookTube not that long ago, like a year ago, probably. It was making the rounds. People were loving it. People still talk about it, but I never got a chance to read it myself. I put it on the back burner for a couple different reasons, and I've been excited since I got it. And I figure this is, again, a readathon that has been graciously led by AR Witham, or at least he's been a huge part of it. There's the Keymark Discord, which Keymark is sort of the universe or the other world in this story. And so I'm going to be chatting about this with people that have read it, and also perhaps with AR Witham, with Andy himself. There are illustrations in here. I don't know if you guys can see, but there are illustrations in here as well. Super, super cool. He does the audiobook. Andy does an excellent job on the audiobook. I have that. So this is going to be any indie book. And then I'm also going to couple that with a prequel story, a short little prequel story that is called The Tale of the Border Knight, also by AR Witham. And it precedes this story of Blackjack. It precedes the story of the legend of Blackjack, 300 years, I believe. So it's 300 years before. And this is going to fit the prompt, books under 200 pages. So this one, if I'm not mistaken, is like 77 pages. So it's a nice little novella. And I heard that it can be sort of either a appetizer or dessert to the main story. I'm going to read it. You know what? I don't know when I'm going to read it. I might read this before or after. I'm going to ask Andy what he thinks. I think I've asked him before and he said it doesn't really matter. But let me just get his preference, and we'll see which order I end up doing them in. Those two by AR Witham, I'm very excited about. All right, the next one can be one of two prompts, and it kind of just depends on what else I'm going to read that month. But it's either going to be book one of a series, because this one is part of a trilogy, or it's going to be a book with a dark cover or something dark on the cover, I believe is the prompt. So this book I'm thinking of is called City on Fire by Dawn Winslow. So I don't own this one. I don't own most of these books except for AR Witham's. And so I'm just going to put it up on the screen, but it was recommended to me by a friend whose tastes align with mine and who likes a lot of the same movies and stuff. And he said this was is a trilogy, and it's basically in the same vein as The Godfather, Goodfellas, Casino, that old style, gritty mafia, mobster type crime family drama movie. So I have wanted to read something like that for a while. I rewatched The Godfather Part 2 not long ago. I was in the mood for something like that, but I didn't want to just pick up Mario Puzo's The Godfather book after watching The Godfather. I kind of wanted something a little different kind of story. And then when he told me about this one, I thought that's perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Very much a mafia mob movie fan. And so all those movies have been favorites of mine when I was younger. And so I'm very curious what this is about. I don't know much about the actual plot, but he said it was like watching one of the best mafia movies play out over this trilogy. He's a pretty well-known author. I think he has a couple other series as well. My friend who recommended this also read the Cartel trilogy. I believe it's a trilogy, and he recommends it. He loves the writing, very quick, fast-paced, page turning type books. So I'm in the mood for that. So it's either going to be book one of a series or like dark cover or something dark on the cover. If I choose not to read that one for whatever reason, I have another book lined up for the prompt of book one in a series, and that is going to be Red Rising. I've wanted to read Red Rising for a long time. I have, I believe, the first 5 books, and I am very curious about it. People say that I'm going to like it a lot. I have the first audiobook on deck on Audible already. It's been staring me at the face. I look behind there because it's on the top of that bookshelf, and I've just been, for some reason, delaying reading it. So if for some reason one of these shift, I'm going to switch into that prompt of book one in a series and read Red Rising finally. Okay, the last one is the one that is going to be kind of weird, and it's probably going to make some of your eyes roll, but some of you are probably going to be really, really excited for me to read this one. I'm going to try to hit the prompt romantic involvement. It's really hard to pick a book with no romantic involvement, obviously, but I'm going to really take this to heart and think, okay, I want a book that is pretty romance heavy, a really good romantic involvement, something that makes people just gush over the romance part of this book, and it is a romantasy book, and I haven't really read any romantasy before, but this is the first book in A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I believe the book is called A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I don't really know what's going to happen. I'm going to try to finish it. I actually got the audiobook already from the library, so we'll see how this rolls. I obviously don't own it, guys. I'm going to put it up here so you can see. But yeah, I'm going to try this one, and we'll see. It may be one that I have to read throughout the month, and then I'll bang off the other books concurrently, because I don't know how fast or how invested I'll want to be, like how fast I'll be able to read it or how immersed I'll be in the story. I'm going to try my best. You've heard it here first. I'm going to read ACOTAR. I'm going to give it a shot. And if I DNF it, I'll be honest with you guys, and I'll give you my reasons, and I will absolutely be transparent, but I don't anticipate DNFing it. I'm going to try to finish it and see what all the hype is about. Now, my friends who have told me to read ACOTAR, give it a chance. You might like it. There's a lot of guys, a lot of adults, a lot of people that like this series for a lot of different reasons. They did say to give it at least 2 books. They said the stuff that really makes people drool is in book 2. And if you're curious what all the hype is about from a particular demographic of reader, that's where you'll find it, is book 2. So give it the first 2 to really get a flavor of what the series is about. And if by that point you're not really into it, or if it's not your style, that's probably where I would give up. So I will try and give it 2 books. I'm going to try to get through the first one. Let's do that. Let's get through the first ACOTAR book before the rest. Welcome to my weirdest TBR ever. I'm going to do the TBR Quest Read-a-Thon. I'm very excited. If something changes, you'll know on one of my weekly updates or my mid-month update, depending on how often I'll start to put those out. That's about it. I'm curious what you guys are reading. Have you read ACOTAR? Do you want to warn me about ACOTAR, or are you excited? Are you excited about any of the other books that I'm going to be reading? Are you joining the Read-a-Thon? Look in the description again for all the Booktuber captains of this Read-a-Thon, and reach out to someone if you want to join. Like I said, if this is the beginning of August already and you're watching this, no sweat. Even if you can't read 5 books, read what you can. Pick up something that has been on your TBR for a long time. That's the whole purpose of this. It's never too late. You can always catch up. That's about it. That's all I got. So quick little TBR, and I'll talk to you guys soon on the next video.